There's a battle taking place in Bitcoin based around ordinals on the Bitcoin blockchain between those that think they're an innovation and have large future potential and use cases, and those that think they're akin to just spamming the Bitcoin network, are useless, and are basically just an exploit. So what are ordinals? How did they come into existence? How do they affect the Bitcoin blockchain? What function or use case do they actually have? What potential is there for ordinals in the future? And why are some people so critical of them? That's what we'll cover in this video. So please do like the video and subscribe to the channel, so I can continue to offer more content for you in future. And let's jump straight in and take a look at ordinals. Ordinals are basically a way of creating NFTs on the Bitcoin blockchain. So images, videos, etc. But this shouldn't be possible because you can't add or build on top of Bitcoin, like you can with Ethereum, for example, with its many dApps and DEXs. But it is actually possible, and ordinal NFTs weren't even the first example of it, with other companies like Counterparty already offering Bitcoin NFTs. But ordinals are certainly the latest example and have seen large interest and hype in the cryptocurrency industry. So let's take a bit of a closer look at what they are and what the story of ordinal NFTs on Bitcoin is. Firstly, all the way back in 2017, there was the segregated witness, or SegWit, update to Bitcoin's blockchain that made data like transaction inputs smaller or take up less space on each block, meaning more transactions could fit in each block and transaction fees would therefore be smaller. Then there was the Bitcoin Taproot upgrade in November 2021, which, to put it simply, essentially reduced the limit on the amount of data that could be used for each Bitcoin transaction, because transactions and signatures could be batched together, which sped up transactions and allowed more space in each block, and therefore increased the scalability of Bitcoin. And I think it's important to say that I won't be going into much detail about these Bitcoin upgrades in this video, because it isn't really the video for that, and I want to get onto ordinals. So, as I'm sure you know, there are 100 million Satoshis that make up one Bitcoin. And because this Taproot update relaxed the limit on how much data could be used for each transaction, this therefore allowed more data to be attached to BTC transactions, but also including to individual sats or Satoshis, which are the lowest denominator of Bitcoin, as we've just seen. This meant that in theory, you could fill an entire Bitcoin block with a limit of 4 megabytes with the data added to just one Satoshi. And this meant you could add, or the actual term is inscribe, data like text, audio, video, art, code, etc. onto Satoshis, because the Taproot upgrade relaxed the data limit. So, moving on from Taproot, a man called Casey Rodemore then created the Ordinals Bitcoin NFT project in January 2023 to try to track these additional bits of audio, art, code, etc. placed on the Bitcoin blockchain that we've just looked at. And the Ordinals protocol does this by giving each sat a serial number when inscribed, and then that number can be tracked across different transactions. And these numbers are given based on the order in which they were mined, probably hence the name Ordinals. Casey Rodemore actually then stepped down in May of 2023, which is a bit odd so soon, claiming that he didn't have the time to focus on ordinals fully. To create ordinals, you originally needed your own Bitcoin node and a wallet that was capable of reading and writing ordinals. But now there are places you can go to buy and create ordinals, so it's a bit easier. And just to give you a few examples of that, there's OKX, Magic Eden, and Ordinals Wallet. And you can see these here when you look at the percentage share of Ordinals volume by the different platforms, with OKX in first place with over 50% of the trading volume, followed by Magic Eden, Ordinals Wallet, and then Unisat in fourth place. If you want to find a particular ordinal NFT, you have to search individually on ordinals.com, and it's not actually the easiest to find anything unless you know the serial number, but you can view the latest blocks and inscriptions on the website. And how many ordinals actually exist? Well, in May 2023, there were already 10 million Bitcoin ordinal NFTs. And then by the beginning of February 2024, as you can see here, based on June's analytics, over 59 million ordinals have been inscribed, which just shows really the size of this growing market. So what are the advantages of ordinals? Well, firstly, if we compare normal NFTs to Bitcoin ordinal NFTs, whereas normal NFTs are stored on centralized third-party servers or blockchains, one positive of ordinals is that they're stored on the most decentralized and secure blockchain in Bitcoin and cannot be stored on centralized servers. They're native to Bitcoin, so this protects and secures the ordinal NFTs, which means they're likely to be there for a long time in the future. Bitcoin is a very decentralized blockchain and has a long and proven track record, so it's ideal for digital assets like ordinal NFTs and BRC20 tokens to be added to, so they're secure. And I'll be covering BRC20 tokens specifically in a video to watch out for in the next week or so, as it builds on the ideas covered in this video. But this is why some people were saying that ordinals have created a new creative marketplace for things like art. Because while some people criticize ordinals, which we'll come to in a minute when we cover the disadvantages, you can see here examples of its popularity and how it is being used, with Sotheby's auctioning $1.1 million worth of Bitcoin ordinal NFTs as digital art, including a Genesis cat selling for $254,000. In addition, you have many successful ordinals collections, such as Honey Badgers, which apparently has a total supply of over 10,000 Bitcoin NFTs. And you can see one here that sold for 10.4 Bitcoin back in December 2023, which was worth about $450,000 at the time. And I'll give one more example through the Bitcoin Rocks collection that you can see a few of here, with one that would actually cost you 10.27 Bitcoin to buy at the time of recording this video, which is over $440,000. And someone even found a way to add the video game Doom onto Bitcoin back in February 2023, with that more recently just having been added to Dogecoin also now, I believe. In January 2023, the largest Bitcoin block ever was mined containing an ordinal NFT, which contained a meme of a Bitcoin wizard called a Taproot Wizard, and it was 3.96 megabytes large, which is close to Bitcoin's block size limit of 4 megabytes. So as we've seen, ordinals have created a large amount of discussion and interest over the last year or so. We can even look at the sales volume of NFTs in dollars on the top 5 blockchains here, with hundreds of millions being bought and sold, with these figures based on the past 30 days. And you can see Bitcoin not being too far behind Ethereum, with Solana 3rd, Polygon 4th, and Avalanche 5th. Because even Satoshi, all the way back in December of 2010, mentioned in a few posts the use of a separate blockchain called BitDNS, which could increase the size of data on Bitcoin, among other things. But what are the disadvantages of ordinals? Because the first that may spring to mind is security, with some, including the National Institute of Standards and Technology in the United States, claiming that there are more risks and potential security and privacy issues when inscribing data into Satoshis on Bitcoin's blockchain, with it even being called effectively an exploit of Bitcoin by doing this and really going against what Bitcoin was meant for in the first place. Linked with this, by adding more data to sats, ordinals also fill up Bitcoin's block space and increase BTC transaction fees as a result, as you can see from the headline here, with it being good for Bitcoin miners' profits though. But for most people, increasing the transaction fees is obviously not a good thing, because you're paying more to transact in BTC. And one of the aims, in my opinion, of Bitcoin is that anyone can use it around the world, and it should essentially be cheaper to send for those who live a long way away, with it supposed to be a peer-to-peer system if you go all the way back to Satoshi Nakamoto's Bitcoin white paper. So the argument is that the cost of sending transactions has increased, so some people can add things like useless meme images, text, tokens, etc. on top of Bitcoin's blockchain. Also, critics state that ordinal NFTs have no use case, so they're not useful and simply akin to spamming the Bitcoin network, with some admittedly being very basic and others of better quality. And remember, there are images, videos, text, code, etc. inscribed onto Bitcoin. Also, one of the premises of Bitcoin is fungibility. And if you don't remember what that means, it's that each Bitcoin or Satoshi, when broken down into its smallest unit, can be replaced by another identical item. So each one is basically interchangeable. And when you look at the term NFT, which stands for non-fungible token, they're all unique, hence the name non-fungible. And this is where the dilemma lies, because Ordinals could change the fungibility of Bitcoin and add more risk because each sat wouldn't now be the same as it was previously. However, having said that, the opposite viewpoint to this is that Ordinals haven't actually changed the fungibility of Bitcoin at all, because one Satoshi is still one Satoshi, and each inscription or Bitcoin Ordinal NFT is either fungible or non-fungible, depending on what the owner of it decides to do with it. Because if you don't care about the data that's attached to the ordinal, then you can still use it like any other Bitcoin. And we could take this further and mention possible issues with regulation moving forward, but I'll be covering this in my next video on BRC20 tokens. So keep an eye out for this one in future. And finally, perhaps ironically, to back up the critics of Bitcoin Ordinal NFTs, the Ordinals.com website suffered from a DDoS, which is a distributed denial of service, spam attack, which is where the server or network is targeted by a flood of internet traffic to try to overwhelm it, which in this case caused the website to time out and shut down, as you can see here from a post by Casey Rodemore. And those who criticize Ordinals in the first place are quick to point out that these Ordinals inscriptions perform a very similar function on the Bitcoin network by basically spamming it and slowing it down. So that ends this video on Ordinals, but as always, I'd love to know what you think in the comments below. Do you see the use case and potential of them, or do you not really see the point of them at all? And I'll be doing a video on BRC20 tokens very soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. And if you are interested in more of a tailored approach to your general crypto education, and you think you'd benefit from having someone look over your shoulder and guide you on your journey, I do offer one-to-one coaching to those who have the desire and the means to educate themselves further. And there are links in the description below where you can message me and book in a free video call to see if we'd be a good fit. And if you found this content interesting, please do like the video and subscribe to the channel, as it really does help. And have a great day.